Hello friends, Molly Ponfidith here, CEO of the SOAR Community Network and co-founder of SOAR Community Nebula. Our goal this year is to interview 1,000 champions of change and community builders, and I'm delighted to bring to you today Miss Kyrah Altman. Thank you so much, Kyrah, for being with us this morning.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me and sharing all of the amazing things that you're doing.
Awesome. Well, we're delighted that you were nominated as a community builder. So we'd like to start the interview by asking you to share with our audience who you are and the work that you're currently doing in the world.
Sure. So my name is Kyrah. I'm the executive director and co-founder of an organization called Let's Empower, Advocate, and Do. We are a social enterprise that provides mental health education in the form of curriculum and training to youth-serving organizations. So that could look like schools or summer camps or community nonprofits. And then we also serve adult populations and work in mental health training in corporate settings as well. And so that's what I do in a nutshell. We also, right now, our most latest and biggest initiative is really trying to revolutionize health education in the United States and create a universal standard that makes health education holistic, relevant, and customized to the modern day high school student. And so that's another piece of what we do.
That's beautiful. Kyrah, what inspired you to launch this? Why was it yours to do?
I think it was mine to do because nobody else was doing it. I think we see issues every single day. If you are trained to identify social injustices or challenges in your world, like I have been through my undergraduate education, you are constantly seeing issues around you. And if you do not take the step and make the choice to enact change and to do something about it, you're no different than the other thousands of people that have walked by that same issue on that same day. And so I feel that if I didn't do something, these issues would continue to remain unaddressed. The reason why I love focusing on mental health empowerment and education is because I look at mental health education as a proactive tool to build community resilience and empower individuals of all backgrounds to really promote their mental health. I don't believe you need to have a mental illness to promote your mental health or to improve your mental health. I also think that mental illness in itself should be destigmatized. And for me, because I care about so many different social issues, working in the fields of mental health, I'm able to then address all of those other issues I care about because the issue of untreated mental illness trickles out into other issues like poverty, incarceration, domestic violence, homelessness, and substance use, and so on.
That's beautiful. Well, can you then share with us a story, an experience where a wonderful human being or human beings really helped by showing you extra love and compassion and empathy
Sure.
to shift you in your way of thinking or in your way of being?
Yeah, sure. I think I would say it's actually not professional at all. I think part of why I do what I do and why I love working with schools specifically is because as a young person with treated mental illness, but I had very severe PTSD and depression all throughout middle and high school due to a very rough and dysfunctional upbringing, I could say. With that said, I remember there was one day I was in school. I was so overwhelmed. I was so distraught. I walked over to my desk and everybody else was leaving for lunch. I just sat down and just started crying. And my teacher didn't say anything because she knew that I was going through a lot. But all she did, she let everyone else leave because they were going to lunch. She walked over with a bag of Hershey's Kisses and just took one out and put it on my desk and then walked away. And it was one of the most compassionate things anyone's ever done because it was just so simple and it made such a big difference. And she gave me the space I needed to reflect and to process what I was going through, but she also did it in a way that I knew she was there for me if I needed her. And so I would say that was very impactful.
I just got chills hearing that. That was so beautifully shared. Thank you so much for that. Wow. When you think of a community builder or a champion of change, what characteristics, attributes, or overarching themes come to mind for you?
When I think about change makers in the
Mhm.
community,
Yeah.
I think authenticity. I think real change makers are individuals that are willing to get vulnerable, they're willing to make mistakes, and they're willing to fail in order to achieve those longer goals and that longer vision. And so they're very authentic in that space and in that constant professional development and personal growth. I think I also see a lot of change makers, especially in the social entrepreneurship world, having a very deep sense of empathy. So, like I said at the beginning, you know, if you walk around and you see all of these social issues in front of you, are you just walking by them and ignoring them, or are you empathizing with them to such a deep level where you are then catalyzed into action and into motion? And I think that really, you know, tells us, are you an entrepreneur or are you a typical human? And so it really does change things there as well.
Right. So as you give so much of your time and energy to your work, are there other causes that really matter to you that you would like to highlight during this interview?
Yeah, I think, I mean, so like I said at the beginning, I am a social justice girl. So I love a lot of different social issues. I love tackling them all in very innovative and sustainable ways. So it's very hard to kind of pick certain issues I care most about. But I can tell you, the running joke inside my organization, which is a nonprofit, is that my real favorite nonprofit, which is not mine, is the Beagle Freedom Project. I'm the dog mom of a beagle. A lot of people don't know, but beagles are the #1 dog breed used in animal testing all over the world because they're the most trusting and adaptable dog breed. And thousands literally are born in cages and stay in the same cage for the rest of their life and are like really go through horrible things and then are killed once they're being done tested on. And so the Beagle Freedom Project goes and rescues these animals after the testing is over and rehabilitates them all over the world. And so I love rehabilitation in any sense. I love working with vulnerable populations in any sense, whether that's dogs that need rescuing or people with a mental illness or families that are displaced. You know, I think vulnerable populations and helping give them a voice or elevate their voice is where I thrive the most.
Wonderful. Are there any causes or mottos or philosophies that you really tap into and draw from for inspiration when things are not as smooth and easy in life?
Yeah, one of the things I tend to do a lot, actually, it's very funny. If I'm going through a very difficult moment or something seems ridiculously overwhelming, and maybe I know that I have a week of hell coming up, what I'll do is I'll pause myself for a second and I'll say to myself, in 1 week or in 1 month, you are going to, at the snap of a finger, wake up, remember this exact moment. And I don't know how anything will have worked out, but it will have all worked out because it will be a month from now or a week from now. And it's so funny because I do this and then literally 1 week later, my brain, like there's a switch in my brain and then I get reminded and I'm like, oh wait, it's been a week and it did work out. I don't know how, but it worked out. And so I think that helps me get through those moments of challenge and see more the long term and also be able to look back later and say that actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So that's what I do.
Great. When you think of a better world, what does it look like through your eyes?
That is a very difficult question. When I think of a better world, I think of a more awakened world, a more self-aware world, a world where people are not. Right now, people all over the world are in crisis and are suffering, whether it's a mental health challenge, a mental illness, or simply just challenges and emotional distress in their personal life or in their relationships. And I think so much of that is we are looking externally for things like love and fulfillment and purpose and validation. And all of those things, and they're exacerbated by things like social media and just modern society in general, being able to buy happiness in a store or on Amazon, right? I think that causes a lot of problems. I think a world where people are more self-aware can look inside to fill those needs, to view themselves as whole instead of wanting to find their other half in many cases as well. I think all of those things would make the world a much more healed and happier place.
Great. Are there any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our audience about being a change maker, about using their gifts and their talents and trusting that they already are community builders? They already are changing the world in their own unique way, and they don't have to wait for someone to give them a title to do so.
Yeah. I think the first thing is you don't need to, like, you can make change in very small ways, and they can slowly build up and become something bigger. You can also start a movement. There's this great TED talk that's it's, if you just Google search like start a movement dancing guy on YouTube, this will come up. Have you seen this? Do you know what I'm talking about? And it's really fantastic. It shows this hillside where everyone's just sitting on the ground
Yes.
picnicking.
That. Yeah.
And oh, you have seen that.
Yes.
Okay. And
Beautiful.
then all of a sudden, one person stands up and starts dancing, and everyone's like, what are they doing? But that one person is the one leader. But then it's not until the first follower stands up and starts dancing as well, and then all of the hundreds of other people also start dancing. So in many cases, it's not just the first leader, it's also the first follower. And it's knowing what role best suits you and where you thrive with your skills and your sense of happiness in the workplace, and then leveraging that forward.
Very well stated. Thank you so much, Kyrah. You've been a pleasure and a joy to interview. I love your passion, I love your spark, and I love your vision for your organization and for the people that you are already serving and the people that you are going to serve. Thank you for your commitment, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you so much for having me again. And of course, it's honestly such, every day I feel grateful to have the job that I do. And if you're not feeling fulfilled, and not every day, right? But if you're not feeling fulfilled and happy with what you do, you're missing out big time. So
Yeah. Well, thank you again, and thank you for all that are watching. Please remember to nominate yourself and others in your community who are making a huge difference, creating these ripple effects. We don't know how far and expansive and wide they will reach, but being good, doing good, and caring about the world outside of you is so needed right now in our world. So thank you. Please learn more. Go to nebula.soarcommunitynetwork.com, and we will see you all very soon.
thank you.
Thank
I'll
you.
talk to you soon. Thank you.